They won't warn you about this video, because if they did, they'd have to admit what they've done. What you're about to hear doesn't just challenge your beliefs, it shatters them. Every sleepless night, every heartbreak you swallowed in silence, every time you were blamed for being not enough, when you were more than they ever deserved. This isn't some modern rant. This is a 200-year-old prophecy written by a man the world called mad. But time has proven right. Arthur Schopenhauer didn't just predict the collapse of love. He dissected it with philosophical precision. And today, we live inside the blueprint of that dissection. Let me tell you a story. A young man named Elias, late 20s, educated, kind, thoughtful, believed in love, the real kind. He gave everything to it, his time, his dreams, his trust. He was told that if he just stayed good, stayed open, stayed vulnerable, someone would see him, love him, choose him. Instead, he was discarded like a used tool when the spark faded. By 34, Elias was broke, divorced, and emotionally scarred. And when he looked around, he realized he wasn't alone. There were thousands like him, men who had poured themselves into a dream that was designed to betray them. You've been told love is the highest human experience, that to give yourself to someone is noble, sacred. But what if that story was a lie? What if, as Schopenhauer argued, love isn't sacred at all? What if it's a biological scam, engineered by nature to manipulate behavior and ensure reproduction? Not happiness. The butterflies, the obsession, the poetry. It's all hormonal theater. Once the biological job is done, so is the illusion. Schopenhauer warned that as women gained social mobility, what was once a mutual survival contract would evolve into a marketplace, where affection is sold, validation is currency, and men are left holding the emotional bill. Sound familiar? Think about it. 80% of modern divorces are initiated by women. Family courts routinely favor the mother, not based on merit, but on presumption. Modern love isn't a partnership. It's a transaction. And for most men, it's a deal with the devil. So tell me this, if love is real, why are so many good men being punished for believing in it? The answer? Because the system wants them punished, wants them weak, confused, and compliant. Schopenhauer called it the tyranny of the feminine will, not as hatred toward women, but as a philosophical truth. In a society where emotion overrides logic, power tilts toward the one most skilled in emotional manipulation. And men, raised to be protectors, not performers, never stood a chance. This is only the beginning of the truth they buried under fairy tales and hashtags. But if you're ready, I'll show you the rest. Let's drop the mask. You don't live in a romantic age. You live in a machine. A cold, calculating, and silent machine, where men are programmed to believe they are rescuers, when in truth, they are the fuel. Every time you open your heart, sacrifice your dreams, or give beyond your limits, the machine claps silently. Because you've just made another offering. Let me introduce you to Friedrich, a 19th century merchant. He married a woman admired by many, soft-spoken, elegant, refined. What he didn't know? She was funneling his earnings to support her lover's failing business. When he sought justice through divorce, the courts sided with her. Their reason? Her fragile state of mind. Friedrich lost his home, his wealth, and eventually, his will to live. Sound like ancient history? Fast forward 200 years. Different actors, same script. Let's talk about Robert, a modern-day Florida surgeon. Worked 80-hour weeks, gave his wife the dream life. She left at 45. No abuse, no cheating. Just those 5 words that have ruined millions of men. I'm not happy anymore. He lost the house, half his retirement. pays $4,000 a month in alimony, and lives alone in a studio apartment at 62, still working because he can't afford to stop. Now ask yourself, is this love or is this a trap? Schopenhauer called marriage a baited snare, perfected not by women alone, but by society itself, which evolved the system to extract male labor and redistribute it under the banner of morality. And if the courts are the iron fist, modern psychology is the velvet glove. You've heard the mantras, real men cry. Be vulnerable. Open up. Sounds healthy, right? Now meet Oliver, 28, software engineer, devoted, loyal, quietly carrying childhood trauma. His girlfriend urged him to share, said she loved his soul, wanted his truth. One night, he did. He told her about the bullying, the loneliness, the nights he wept into his pillow at 12 years old. She hugged him, kissed his forehead, said she was proud of him. 2 weeks later, she left. I just don't see you as strong anymore. You see, vulnerability may be a virtue in theory, but in reality, it's a weapon used to assess your utility. A 2019 study from Social, Psychological, and Personality Science confirmed what Schopenhauer predicted centuries ago. Men who show emotional vulnerability are perceived by women as less attractive, less competent, and less desirable. They call it the weakness penalty. He called it the natural order. Because here's the truth they won't tell you. A woman's love is conditional. A man's love is sacrificial. And sacrifice, when it's one-sided, is not devotion. It's slavery, dressed in sentiment. Every system tells you, be softer. But when you break, they look at you like a defective product, not a human being. This isn't a failure of relationships. It's a designed outcome. The laws, the culture, the incentives, they're all calibrated for one purpose: to extract from men, then discard them when they no longer serve. And what makes it all so cruel? Most men go their whole lives thinking it's their fault. But it's not. It never was. This isn't just emotional, it's systemic. There's a lie you've been swallowing since childhood, not just believing, but breathing, that if you just become a better man, work harder, love deeper, speak softer, you'll finally be enough. But what if the entire game is rigged, not just against who you are, but against what you are? Welcome to the digital coliseum. Instagram, TikTok, dating apps. Not tools for connection, but bazaars of attention, where women auction beauty and men bid with validation, effort, and dignity. Take Jake, 23, respectful, sincere, in shape, pursuing a degree in engineering. He matches with a girl. Weeks of chatting, 3 expensive dates, meaningful eye contact, real feelings. Then, ghosted. No warning, no explanation. A month later, he sees her in Bali, wrapped in the arms of a man twice his age with a Lambo parked behind them. Her caption? Know your worth, Queen. Do you see it now? This isn't a glitch. It's the algorithm. It rewards male devotion with silence and female entitlement with praise. Schopenhauer predicted this with chilling accuracy. The more options a woman has, the less capable she becomes of love. It's called the paradox of choice. When options are infinite, meaning dies. And when women have hundreds of men vying for their attention, men become disposable. Not because they are unworthy, but because the system tells her there's always someone richer, taller, hotter, faster. You are no longer a person. You are a profile to be swiped away. But let me tell you something darker. The ultimate prison isn't the algorithm. It's you. You've been conditioned to be your own executioner. You police your own ambition. You censor your own instincts. You feel guilty for just wanting to be a man. Schopenhauer called this the will turned against itself. It's when a man internalizes his oppression so deeply he thinks his suffering is deserved. Let me show you how this ends. Marcus, 32. A brilliant engineer. Reliable. Gentle. A quiet man with a sharp mind and a good heart. His wife left him. Took their daughter. Family court gave him 4 days a month unless he paid more in support. 6 months later, Marcus jumped from the 14th floor of his office building. His last Google search? How to disappear without debt collectors finding you. His suicide note said, "I'm sorry I wasn't enough. Not strong enough for my wife. Not smart enough for my father. Not rich enough for society." This isn't tragedy. It's ritualized sacrifice, and we pretend it's rare. But in the West, 3 out of every 4 suicides are men. Divorced men, 8 times more likely to take their own lives. This isn't a bug in the system. It is the system. From the moment you're born, you're taught your instincts are dangerous, your ambition is toxic, your suffering is weakness. But the cruelest lie? That you are the problem. That if you just healed more, talked more, cared more, you'd be worthy. It's not true. You are not broken. You are betrayed. But now, the illusion is cracking. And from within that fracture, something is awakening. So what now? You've seen behind the curtain. You've tasted the bitter truth. And maybe, for the first time, you're asking the right question. Is there a way out? Yes. But not the way you've been told. Not through another TED Talk. Not through empty affirmations. Not by begging society for crumbs of validation. No. The real way out is darker, harder, and more liberating than anything you've ever imagined. And it starts with one sacred act. Killing your illusions, not your hope, not your life, but the stories that kept you enslaved. Illusion number 1. Love will save you. From fairy tales to modern rom-coms, you were spoon-fed the myth that a woman's love would complete you. That she'd see the real you, heal your wounds, and build a future together. But Schopenhauer dismantled that fantasy centuries ago. He wrote that love, when worshipped as salvation, becomes the most dangerous prison. Because men surrender their freedom for the idea of connection, not the reality of it. Look at Goethe, Germany's literary titan. At 23, he fell desperately in love with Charlotte Buff, a woman already engaged. His torment inspired The Sorrows of Young Werther, a novel that triggered a wave of suicides across Europe. Goethe's own conclusion? Love is an ideal thing, marriage a real thing. A confusion of the two never goes unpunished. Modern men still haven't learned. They're mortgaging futures, dignity, and peace of mind for a text message dopamine hit. Illusion number 2. Your value is your utility. Society treats you like a tool. You're praised when you're useful. You're invisible when you're not. Let's talk about a 2021 social experiment. 2 identical dating profiles. Mark A, 35, loves hiking, just got out of a relationship, finding his way. Mark B, 35, CFO, 6'2", owns a Miami penthouse. Same man, same face, different status. Profile A got 3 matches in a week. Profile B got 147 in a day. You're told women want emotional honesty, but the data screams something else. What can you do for me? Illusion number 3. You are the problem. Therapy culture tells you to heal yourself, but Schopenhauer saw this trap too. To tell a man he is broken is to sell him unending repair. Today, 1 in 5 men is on antidepressants. Has that made them happier? Or has Big Pharma found a way to turn suffering into subscriptions? This is not healing. It's commodified despair. So what's the truth? That the man who sees clearly must act fiercely, The free man, Schopenhauer wrote, is he who does not fear being alone. And that leads us to your escape plan. Step 1. Become ungovernable. Delete the apps. Refuse to play a game where the rules are rigged. Walk away from legal contracts that strip you of everything for nothing. They will call you toxic. Laugh, because silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Step 2. Weaponize your pain. Every great man in history was broken first. Beethoven lost his hearing, then composed the Ninth Symphony. Van Gogh sold one painting in his life and changed the art world forever. Nietzsche wrote through migraines and madness and gave the world Zarathustra. You think your pain makes you less? It is your forge. Step 3. Play the long game. Society lies to men about timing. A woman's leverage peaks between 20 and 30, but a man's power matures with time. 35 to 55, that's your prime. Let me tell you about Hiroto, a Japanese salaryman, fired at 40, divorced, broken. But instead of crumbling, he rebuilt. Taught himself AI programming. By 50, he was a consultant in Silicon Valley, earning triple his old income. His ex-wife, working retail. His words? I stopped living on their clock. You were never the villain in this story, but you were never the hero either. You were the fuel. And now, for the first time, you have a chance to stop burning and start building a new life, a new will, not for approval, not for applause, but for freedom. If this truth hit you in the soul, don't scroll. Type will in the comments. Let the world know you're still standing. And if you're ready to go even deeper, click the next video, because what comes next isn't content, it's consequence.